Virginia.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon. Recently, I was able to visit the Thomas Jefferson National Accelerator Facility in Virginia, which, as you know, conducts groundbreaking nuclear and particle physics research. Recently, their engineers were able to use an innovative photon detection system to solve challenges in quantum computing, quantum sensing, and quantum cryptography, which is one example of the potential for quantum information science to help us solve previously unsolvable problems and better understand the fundamental building blocks of matter. So I look forward to hearing more from you today and in the future about how Congress can support the advancement of quantum information science on behalf of society. But my first question is, computational models are essential to our understanding of the mechanisms driving climate change and the impact of efforts to mitigate climate change. These models are highly complex and computationally demanding, making climate modeling an ideal application for quantum computing. So, Dr. Rieffel, could you discuss how Congress can support the development of quantum computing for climate applications in a potential National Quantum Initiative Act reauthorization?
Thank you. Yes, there are many computational challenges in climate and earth science generally, and quantum computing has the potential to really affect how quickly we can compute those things, reduce the energy with which we can compute those things. We also have quantum sensing, which can help us understand better ice, oceans, land mass, and changes. So the applications in those areas are broad, and to tie in with some of what we've talked about before, bringing in folks who have expertise in those areas and tying them tightly with the folks who have expertise in the quantum computing area, and really understanding what really specifically are the computational challenges in your areas that will really make the difference. And we're working on that at NASA, but I think more broadly, having those computational challenges would be great.
Thank you. The advances in quantum computing put our traditional forms of encryption at risk. So with serious national security implications. And my understanding is that some agencies like NIST are already working to develop a secure post-quantum encryption techniques. So Dr. Tahan, could you speak to OSTP's work to address the national security risks posed by quantum computing and what support you need from Congress?
Thank you, Congresswoman. I'll just start by saying I went to William & Mary, and I know Jefferson Lab quite well. We've been doing a lot to support the transition to post-quantum cryptography. Probably the most important thing that has happened in that space in the last year is the President signed a National Security Memorandum, NSM-10, on quantum computing, which lays out clear objectives for the agencies to, in a timely and equitably manner, move the whole nation to quantum cryptography. So it's going to be expensive to upgrade all the routers, to understand what needs to be upgraded, not only in the federal government, but also in our small businesses and companies across states across the country. To do that, we need to know what we need to do. So first and foremost, this process included OMB and included the agencies like NIST, DOD that have significant equities to make that process. And that's being run out of the National Security Council, and we could help facilitate interactions with them if you want to know more.
Thank you. And in the time left, providing students with the hands-on quantum research experience is expensive, and availability is limited at many institutions, as we've discussed, including at many HBCUs and minority-serving institutions. So, Dr. Edwards, how can we ensure that all students interested in quantum-related fields have opportunities to access experimental training, cutting-edge facilities, and advanced instrumentation?
Thank you, Congresswoman, for that question. Representation is so more important, and participation in this is critical towards closing wealth gaps in many cases, particularly for students at underrepresented groups. I think that I want to acknowledge the efforts of DOE Renew program and Expand QASE as initially trying to address this at universities and colleges. It's a complex problem that I'd be happy to provide more in writing. But in short, I will say that Right now, there are early stage activities and initial stage modular curriculum, but we'll need to explore more models out there to find successful ways, particularly because our MSIs, HSIs, community colleges, and primarily undergraduate institutions have professors that are typically tasked with a lot of teaching, and they play an outsized role and a lifeline to their students. And by engaging them in this and providing research funds, we want to make sure we don't risk taking them away from their students and breaking that lifeline. So I'd like to provide more in writing, if that's okay, on this complex question and ideas on how the NQI Act can help move this forward.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I yield back.
Gentlelady,